Welcome to the PrepZone Show, presented by Bevill State. I'm your host, Johnathan Bentley, joined by my co-host, Zach McCullough again. We've done this for, I think we're in the week 10 now. And we did preseason, so this is like week 11 maybe.
We are in the rhythm of the show. It's perfect.
Yeah, and we're running out of games here too, unfortunately. It'll be over before you know it, so get out there and support your local
we got
team.
A couple of teams possibly ending their seasons this week.
That's correct.
So
That's correct. Week 10 for some of them.
Through.
All right, so we'll jump straight into last week's games. A crazy game you were at last week.
I know.
Curry 31, Dora 21.
And that game is tied going into halftime. Dora scores first, and Curry responds. Dora scores again. Curry responds. Curry gets the ball, drives down the field. They stall out in the red zone. Heath Miller kicks a 43-yard field goal that would have been good from 50. I mean, it almost went over the upright. It was at the very top of the upright. There was a lot of power on that kick. Place erupts. Dora gets the ball back. They turn it over on downs inside their own 20. Curry punches it in, and from that point, it was pretty much over. Although Dora, I will say, they got in the red zone twice in the fourth quarter, and they had 0 points to show for.
Oh, that's tough.
So that is how Curry was able to pull off the upset and keep their playoff hopes alive.
Huge win for Curry, actually. Okay, so a very disappointing up the road. Jasper had a disappointing loss, 17-14 to Hartselle, drops them to third in the region.
And Hartselle scores a touchdown with 8 seconds left.
And got a fourth down right before that. So, I mean, it came down to, the wire there.
And I picked Jasper, and I felt very smart about it because the entire game they're in the lead. Now I'm going to get this right, pick up a game on Johnathan on the standings, and then Hartselle just clutch touchdown drive. And Jasper, they'll be the 3 seed in that region now. In fact, they're already locked into that 3 seed.
They are.
And they'll have to go to Gadsden City in the first round.
I really hate that because Buckhorn would have come here, and instead you got to turn around. Think of that. 8 seconds away from playing here, and now you got to go to Gadsden.
And Buckhorn is your alma mater.
Tough. I was hoping they'd come here. Jasper has gone there before, but they've never come here. It's been a long time if they have. But, yeah, tough loss for Jasper. I still give them a good chance to do something at Gadsden in a couple weeks. All right, Oakman, maybe the surprise of the week. Oakman 40, Vinemont 14.
Definitely the surprise of the week, just based on the final score. Vinemont, they had not lost a region game. They beat Gordo. And then they go to Oakman, and Oakman just stomps all over them.
Was never close.
And Vinemont, they tried to stop Tyler Thomas. They were able to keep him in check a little bit, but not really. And then the passing game for Oakman really took off as well.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And Vinemont had no chance whatsoever. So Oakman, they keep their playoff hopes alive, although they are pretty slim. Hey, they're still alive.
Yeah, and I will say this. I think Vinemont looked at that record. We've said they're better than their 2 wins, Oakman.
Yep.
They probably looked at the record, thought they were one of the bad teams in the region, and that is just not the case. So good job for Panter and the boys. That was a huge win. And I should have seen it coming.
You should have. I should have too.
All right, so midfield 62, Carbon Hill 7. We did not get an upset in that one.
Yeah, it was ugly early, stayed ugly late, bad loss for the Bulldogs.
And Corner keeps their region championship hopes alive with a 42-7 win over John Carroll. That was also the halftime score.
I was thinking it was going to be a close game for a little bit.
It was last year.
Corner just stepped all over them, dominated from the get-go. A big win for the Jackets. As you mentioned, the chances of a region title, they're a win away, right?
Very good. It's what I don't like about the HSA. This benefits Corner, but Ramsey and Briarwood. Ramsey played Clay Chalkville, and they're playing these just best teams in the state in their region, and they hold it against you.
Yes.
In the end, I really don't like that, but hey, good for Corner. I want Corner to be home. I want them to win the region.
They could win the region, and if they lose, not so good. Yeah, but they have a chance at least.
I think they have a very good chance. And another playoff team, Meek 52, Cherokee 6. It wasn't that close either.
Meek is a really good team, and Cherokee, they're not good.
Speaking of not good, Winston County 77 and a school record.
A school record.
Tharptown 6.
Winston County had never scored 77 before. I think the previous record was 73.
It was against Vinemont, actually, back when Vinemont wasn't very good.
It was also the largest margin of victory, I do believe.
Oh, wow.
71 points for Winston County. So a historic win over a Tharptown program that is struggling. Yes. But credit to Winston County. I saw them against Curry. Their offense was really kind of ball control. Don't score a lot of points. Just dominate. And they decided, well, let's just score a lot of points this week.
They can do. It was kind of like last year. They can win both ways.
Yep, they can win any way they have to.
And Fultondale disappointing ends Cordova's playoff hopes 22-18. And you remember I had Cordova making the playoffs and Jasper playing a home playoff game.
And you were so close to getting them both.
Bold predictions, and they both came crashing down last week.
Late. I mean, they were lasting a good bit. I think that mine was team gets to the semifinals. There's a chance at that.
Chances there.
Then there were 2 teams winning 10 games that were not the normal 10-win people, which would be Addison most likely. And then after that, maybe Jasper. Corner, I think they were one of the exceptions because we're so used to them doing it.
Oh, yeah, it could be Jasper, hopefully.
And then I had Jake Aaron losing on the limb, and you're trying to take care of that.
Yeah, but
this
is where I fall apart.
Jake
exactly. All right, and Hubbartville 50, Lynn 6. I thought that would be a little bit closer than that. That tells you how good Hubbartville
is a really good football team, and Lynn fell victim. Man, imagine you had mentioned this off the air. Addison and Hubbartville running into each other in the playoff. What a game that would be.
Yeah. Hubbartville, I mean, these 1A teams, you can just come up out of nowhere. They're good at everything right now. Their basketball team made the Final Four, and there's a lot of these same kids, but, boy, they're rolling right now. And Addison, unfortunately, didn't get to play. They got a forfeit win over Vine. I hate that for Addison because that really hurts their stats.
Exactly. Now their average has gone down. For
really
points
hurts.
Per game because it goes down in the official record books as only scoring 1 point.
Yeah, that's not right.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, they needed that game. I hate they didn't get that.
Because if they'd have played, they probably would have won 60-something to 6.
Yeah, they would have spread it out and everybody would have got a touchdown. All right, so our player of the week, kind of 2 guys again. Had to mention 2 here. You already mentioned one of them, Heath Miller.
Heath Miller, his stats were phenomenal. It's his first game at quarterback.
That's crazy.
160 yards rushing on 18 carries with 1 touchdown, 28 yards through the air, a 43-yard field goal, made 4 extra points, and had an interception.
Wow.
Pretty good for Heath Miller.
And I will say this about Sickles. J.D. Sickles is an old quarterback. He moved. What kind of senior will do that to help the team?
Running back.
And then he had 3 touchdowns. So, I mean,
great game for J.D. Sickles. Yeah, that shows that those players have bought into what Coach Cordell is doing.
Yes, they have. Boy, a great job over there. The other one is Barrett Panter. This is you kind of mentioned him in that Vermont game. 3 touchdowns, 218 total yards. He had 1 touchdown pass going into that game.
And he just dominated. Fantastic performance. Also, I mean, look, 63 yards rushing, 155 yards passing.
Tore him apart.
Really good. And, young kid, he's got a lot of time ahead of him. Oakman.
That was his best game of the year by far. And I think Thomas had 200. I mean, they just did whatever they wanted against Vermont. All right, so we'll jump into this week's games. You kind of mentioned this is it for a couple local teams, at least in the regular season. But we'll start at Fultondale, a game you'll be at with the radio station.
Yeah, Curry at Fultondale on a Thursday night.
Yep. Curry 3-6, Fultondale 3-5.
And the winner of this is almost guaranteed that 4th spot in the playoffs.
Yes.
Who would have imagined at the beginning of the season it was going to come down to Curry and Fultondale for the playoffs?
Absolutely
the
not. 2
teams that we expected to be in the bottom of the region, and they are fantastic.
They've passed Cordova and Dora, so this is what's left.
And I have not picked Curry at all this season, and they've won 3 games, and I've heard about it every time I've been there. But, man, it's at Fultondale, and Fultondale's got, 2 wins in a row. They've looked
better.
Not dominant, but they find a way to win.
But Haleyville and Cordova, both very close games.
Yes, and considering what Cordova did to Curry and then Fultondale beating Cordova, and it's at Fultondale. If it was at Curry, I'd go with the Yellow Jackets, but it's at Fultondale, so I'm going to go with the Wildcats.
It'll be your first trip to Fultondale,
It will. I've never been to a game there,
actually. I haven't either. But I also, kind of like the same thing you said, I haven't picked them much this year. I think I picked them to beat Haleyville, maybe.
I think you did.
Yeah, so they've already, so it shows what I know. But I'm going with Fultondale, too, just mainly because it's on the road. Yeah, if this had been in Curry, I'd really like their chances.
At home or on the road for Curry, it just hasn't been there. They got blown out by Cordova, blown out by Cold Springs. Tough games on the road. At home, they've been really good. They 3-2, and their only 2 losses are Fett County and Hamilton, who anybody would have lost to in our area.
2 really good teams.
So the home field advantage for Curry is fantastic, and I would not be surprised if they win this. go to the
hope
playoffs,
so.
and then I hear about it afterwards.
I hope I'm wrong too.
So do I.
All right, so we got Corner, also a Thursday game, a little bit up the road from where you will be. Corner at Carver. Corner 7-1, Carver 4-2. Carver only has 8 games on the schedule,
Which is weird. You don't see that a lot. This is the kind of game that Corner might struggle in. There's a lot on it. You're playing a lesser opponent, and Carver's going to be so motivated to win this. And there's a lot on the line for Corner.
There really is.
If they win the region. If they lose, they're what? Fourth.
They'll be behind Carver. Yeah.
So it's go all in or go broke if you are Corner. And I think it's going to be close, hard fought, but I'm going with the Yellow Jackets. I'm picking Corner.
I'm thinking the same. I think it may be one of those games where they kind of pull away in the fourth, like they're so accustomed to do in these closer type games. So hopefully Corner locks up that region this week. And another game here, Columbia 0-8. I laugh because they've lost 99 in a row. I mean, this goes back to 2015, and I hate that. Sammy Coates, former Auburn great receiver, is their head coach. And they almost won a game this year. I think they lost by 4 to East Lawrence.
East Lawrence, yes.
Yeah, so they're 0-8, and Jasper 6-2. Jasper looking to get back on the winning track. You think it'll be 100 in a row, I'm guessing?
It's got to be. Columbia, they can't come into Jasper and pull that upset,
no
right?
way.
It
No
would
way.
seem
Absolutely
impossible.
no way.
ESPN, they're doing a documentary on Columbia on that losing streak, so they'll be
really?
national TV coming in.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the Jasper players that have been really good can get some recognition. Maybe they can get on TV, get recruited. I'd love to see that. Columbia, it wouldn't shock me if Columbia puts up a fight in the first quarter, but I think Jasper's got way too much talent, much depth. Coaching I think the coaching for Jasper will be superior as well. So I'm going with the Vikings to win it big, and Columbia will go on a 100-game losing streak.
Yes,
Never thought that could be possible, even remotely in high school football.
And I hate that for Coates in his first year because I think they've really improved. Now, if you look at the numbers, you'll be like, no, they haven't. But
compared to what it has been.
I think they're slowly. You got to build that foundation. But, yeah, Jasper big in this one.
They'll win a game eventually, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe next year, hopefully.
Maybe.
All right, so Good Hope 7-1 at Dora 2-7. This will wrap it up for the Bulldogs.
Boy, if they would have won last week, I would be tempted considering how hot they are. But I don't know what happened to Dora. An utter collapse. They had the season turned around, and it just all fell apart. And now you got to close it up with a really, really Good Hope team.
Yeah, they've already handled everybody around here pretty easily.
Yeah, the Red Raiders from Coleman County, I think, will win pretty handily.
Yeah, too. Really, really good team. And, yeah, Dora, Foster had a great game last week. 3 touchdowns. But, they couldn't stop Curry. So I'm thinking Good Hope. I've seen them in person, and they're really fast and got some athletes.
They beat Addison really bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
You did see them that week.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So I'm going Good Hope as well. Now, this was a tougher pick. Midfield 3-5. Oakman 3-5 at Oakman.
Oakman, after what they did last week, you wonder how much they have left in the tank. Midfield, they've struggled. Mm-hmm. They beat Carbon Hill very big last week. I'll say that for them. But I think maybe they used up all their offense. Last Friday night at Oakman, I'm going to go with the Wildcats to beat the Patriots in this one. Probably close for a little bit before too much Tyler Thomas and Oakman pulls away with it.
Yeah, I think Oakman hopefully continues from last week. That was an unbelievable performance last week.
And
so I have them winning that as well.
If Oakman wins, they have a slight playoff chance, but they would need Hanceville to upset Phil Campbell. Hanceville has the worst defense in all of Class 3A.
0 for the year.
They're 0 for the year. Right? So very slim playoff chances for Oakman, but they have a chance at least, and maybe miracles can happen in that one.
Comes down to all those close losses earlier in the year. I hate that.
If they would have the Phil Campbell loss, we were shocked by that. If they could have just scored one more touchdown, goodness.
Yeah.
They'd be in the driver's seat for a playoff spot.
Yeah, at least they got that win. Hopefully can close strong here.
Build towards next year.
Yeah, have Southeastern next week on the road. Cordova 2-6 at Haleyville 0-9. Speaking of winless teams, which is crazy for Haleyville.
We did not expect Haleyville to go 0-10 this year, and they haven't yet. But I think they will be after Cordova gets done with them. Cordova, they've lost 2 heartbreaking games in a row. I think this is their get-right game at Haleyville. I'm going with the Blue Devils to win very handily.
Yeah, get some frustration out in this one because they were in the playoffs driver's seat 2 weeks ago, and just like you said, 2 very close losses. So Cordova will win this one, should win this one big. You never can tell. And Carbon Hill 1-7 at Gordo 7-1.
It's unfair. Gordo, they're just the class of 3A, at least in this part of the state. Always dominant, so Green Wave win very big.
Yeah, I agree on that one. Vina 0-8. Speaking of winless, got a couple of winless teams on here. It's 3 that our teams are playing. Vina 0-8 at Meek 5-3. Do we need to say much there?
At least they're playing this week, I think, as far as we know thus far.
Week, they got a forfeit.
Last week they could not play Addison. This week, Meek should wipe the field with them. You never know in 1A football, but it is Vina. So
I hope they did get to play because it's senior night for Meek.
Yes,
it's the last,
you don't want that
game.
canceled. They
Last
got
home game.
at Carbon Hill after that.
All right, so Lynn, in a big game they need 4-5 at South Lamar, 3-5 in the region.
Yeah, if Lynn loses
region
this,
game here.
it throws it into tiebreakers.
Yeah, you don't want to be in tiebreakers.
And I haven't really studied everybody because there's so many variables in that region as to the tiebreaker.
You never know what's going to happen either.
But I went back and forth on this one because Lynn did not look good last week. The season, in fact, the last 2 weeks, lost to Marion County and then Hubbardsville. Lynn hasn't looked good. South Lamar, they haven't looked good either, but they're looking better, I guess, at this point in the season. And it's at Millport, so I'm going with the South Lamar Stallions to pull the upset.
I'm going with Lynn. I know these last 2. One of them was Hubbardsville, and I'm just going to throw that out. And the other game was at Ewan, and they lost by 8. Ewan's a hard place to win, and so is South Lamar, but I think Lynn will get it back together, hopefully, here to close out the regular season.
Yeah, this is their last regular season game.
And speaking of, is also Addison's last game, 8-1 at Phillips, 2-6.
It should be a fun trip to Bear Creek and a fun trip back for the Addison Bulldogs. It should be dominant, not close at all. They get their bye week next week, and they can prepare for the playoffs.
Yes, this will be ugly. And Winston County at a 4-4 at a 1-7 Decatur Heritage. They were so good last year.
Did not see that coming. It was a great game last year. It was 14-7. Winston County won. Decatur Heritage was driving downfield to tie it. Had an open receiver, and the guy dropped it. Would have been a game-tying touchdown.
Now look at this. Yeah,
and they're 1-7. And because it's such a small region, Winston County still has to win this to go to the playoffs. Yep. But they should win handily. Long trip to Decatur, but it should be a fun trip back.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, they need that one. All right, so we'll jump into our top 5 this week. I have a kind of a strange one here at 5. I put Curry.
Put them in. Wow.
Well, this week is the main the key words there, right? So Curry, just impressive win over Dora. Just impressive all the way up and down. The team, just happy for them, and Coach Cordell laying the foundation over there.
Yeah, it's been a great year for Curry. 0-10 last year, and turning into this. We just talked about Winston County. They're my number 5. They're back at 500. They're 4-4. They should win this week easily against Decatur Heritage. After that, Faultville is going to be really tough because Faultville is a pretty good game. But they're looking at the worst, finishing 5-5 on the year, which after everyone they lost, it's still disappointing, but they're in the playoffs. And I think whoever they get in that first round is going to be in for a dogfight. So Winston County is my number 5.
Yeah, Winston County was a point or two away from at least second. They lost to Red Bay by a point.
29-28. Red Bay, they're a pretty good football team this year.
And then lose to Lexington, both on the road. That was close. All right, so I have Meek as my number 4.
They are my 4 as well.
Okay, well, and what can you say about Meek? They've been rolling up points the last few weeks. Ever since they lost to Addison, they've kind of got back on track like we expected.
And the rest of their schedule, pretty easy. So Evan McKay, Hunter Wyatt, that entire team. Daniel Evans, he's done a fantastic job taking over for Houston Powell. After Powell left, we were wondering, oh no, Meek, they just had all the success they really haven't had before. What happens? And the program was put in perfect hands for Daniel Evans. So great season for Meek. A lot like last year. They'll probably finish with the same record of 7-3. And it's just a matter of what can they do in the postseason.
Yeah, just get there first. It looks like they'll have to go to Woodville, which is, I don't know where that's it. It doesn't sound close.
Doesn't, no.
I don't know where it's at. That way, somewhere. All right, so my number 3, my 4, well, we already talked about that. So we're both Meek on number 4. What about 3?
3 is Jasper. I've got the Vikings there.
As well.
We're probably going to be identical the rest of the way out.
Maybe so.
Jasper at number 3. Your only 2 losses are to the number 3 team and the number 4 team in 6A. Everybody else, they really haven't played anyone really good yet. But they've dominated whoever they played, except for Coleman, and that's a rivalry game. You can throw that out. At least they won.
Yes.
And if they would have lost,
It'd have been a mess.
It could be Jasper could have been in a big mess for playoffs, but they were able to pull that out at the last second. Sadly, they couldn't pull out the Hartselle game, or else they'd be higher on this list. But still, decent season for Jasper so far. Actually, really good.
Very good season.
They're going to be 8-2 if everything plays favorably, which it should. So good for the Vikings. Reeves has done a fantastic job since he's taken it over.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you go 8-2 and you're a little disappointed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And those two losses, as I mentioned, they were really, really good teams.
Number 3 and number 4 back-to-back weeks, and you played number 4 right to the wire. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, very tough loss. But, yeah, great season, man. That's all you can say about it. My number 2 is Addison.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, what can you say about Addison this year? Hastings done an incredible job. Elijah Roberts and there's too many guys to mention. Burns, I mean, just Wilkins, all these guys just running them down the field, scoring at will on everybody. They haven't really had a close game, except, well, I'll throw out Good Hope. Boy,
that
tells you how
Hope,
good Hope was. Yeah, a ranked 4A team, but yeah, just manhandling everybody else, and I don't see them losing for a while.
So my number 2 is going to be corner. Haven't seen them play this year, but they are typical Trent Campbell corner. Mm-hmm. They're going to dominate at the line of scrimmage in the fourth quarter especially. If you have a close game with them, you're not winning. You need a big lead to be able to hold on against this team. Spencer Unruh, fantastic as always. Another great season for corner. This dominance recently that they have had, it's continuing.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 games have been almost the same, where the other team scores first, and then like corner scores 40 straight in the first half.
It just stomps right on them.
I mean, they could have scored 80 last week. You don't want to run into them right now, and I think they're going to win the region, but
they should.
That's why they're my number 1.
Okay.
Yes, and I know who your number 1 is.
My number 1 is Addison. They've been my number 1 for it feels like forever now, because their only loss in the stretch I've had them at number 1 is to Good Hope, and you said you're throwing it out, so I'll throw it out as well. Yeah. Addison, dominant. We expected when Mark Hastings got that job that this was going to be a really, really good season for the Bulldogs, and it has delivered. They've got the Region 1, should beat Bear Creek very easily. And then it's a matter of how far can they go in the playoffs. You talk about all the talent. I haven't seen Addison yet this season, so I'm looking forward to, hopefully in the playoffs, being able to catch one of their games.
Yeah, there are something to see, Most of these games were over at halftime. A lot of times I'll stay. I was like, if it's over at halftime, I'll leave, and I end up leaving at halftime if I go to meet Addison, because they have just obliterated everybody. It's fun to watch. I remember we went to their media day before the season started, and they were excited about the offense.
Yes,
I did not see this coming.
Because they were going to be able to throw the football this year. Yes. And they've run the ball, throw the ball. They've done it all to perfection. And the defense has been fantastic. So all around great for Addison. That is why they are my number 1.
Yeah, maybe they'll get there on mine.
Maybe. Right. They have been at one point this season,
they have.
I think.
I just kind of jumped them all around. I think Jasper was number 1 at one point.
They were number 1 for me. Corner was number 1 for me at one point. So
a lot of those 3 have been near the top. All right, so I wanted to talk about Curry real fast, since we usually don't talk a lot about Curry.
No, unfortunate, but they're not usually fighting for a playoff spot. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2018.
Yes, I wrote this all down. Okay, haven't made the playoffs since 2018. That was also the last time they won at least 4 games. And they, we had forgotten going into this year they hadn't even won a region game since 2018.
And
so they won 2 now.
They had a 36-game losing streak at one point.
I forgot about
between that. In fact, it fell apart during that season because the losing streak that they used to be on started halfway through that 2018 season. They had just done so well at the beginning of the year that they were able to make the playoffs anyway. And then in 2019, they don't win. In 2020, they don't win, and they have to forfeit a lot of games because of the pandemic. 21, thinking it was 21 where they broke the streak.
Yeah.
And through that season. So great for Curry that they've turned it around, and they're winning a couple of games a year. Last year didn't go well. And then this year they have just come out of nowhere to compete for a 4th spot in that region. And the reason really is, I think, Jace Cordell. The players have bought into his system. They're working in the weight room because he loves the weight room, and that's one thing. If you talk to an opposing coach, well, what stands out about Curry? Man, they're big. They're in the weight room all the time. So I think that's why they've been so successful lately.
I remember talking to Coach Simmons at Winston County before the season started, and he was really high on Curry. I think they had gone over there for one of those 7-on-7s, but Yeah, I think they're just bigger and stronger. He laid that foundation, man, and they believe in it.
Yes.
You know, that's what it takes.
And it paid dividends. At the beginning of the season, they dominate their biggest rival in Carbon Hill. And then they realize, it gets in their mind, hey, we can go on a run this year. We can do this. And credit to them for sticking to it after a couple of rough losses early in the season, getting blown out by Cold Springs, getting blown out by Cordova. They go through the meat of the schedule playing Hamilton and Good Hope and Fett. And then they show up and they beat Dora, and they've got a fighting chance this week against Fultondale to go to the playoffs. Couldn't ask for much more.
To go into week 10 with a chance to make the playoffs, I mean, yeah, good job at Curry.
And they're not losing a whole lot. They lose Sickles. They'll miss him.
That'll hurt, yeah.
But they've got a lot of talent coming back. So this could be sustainable, this success. It could be sustainable for Curry.
Yeah, I'm glad it's good to see them doing well, you know, because it's been a while. Like a 0-10 you said last year, and everybody is excited, you know. It's good to see them going in the right direction. All right, so we'll jump to college football, unfortunately. We'll go straight to Alabama. So I guess it's crazy how things have changed now. They're the SEC favorite. They've got to be at this point, right?
And Alabama and Texas A&M, they're both the only undefeated team left in conference play, and they'll be the favorite every game the rest of the way out. A&M's schedule is pillow soft for the rest of the season. This week is probably their last real tough test until they get to Texas. They get LSU this week, Texas at the very end of the season. Alabama, they have LSU, they have Oklahoma. South Carolina won't be easy this week, and the Iron Bowl is always crazy, no matter how bad Auburn might be. So Alabama, probably the favorite. They have the second best odds to win the national championship at this point, behind Ohio State.
Yeah, because if you look,
turnaround.
You look at the rest of the SEC, it's like, who's better than them? You know, I thought Georgia, then they beat them at their place. And Texas is bad.
They had to have overtime to beat Kentucky.
Auburn, Texas will be a great game. But yeah, they've soared above everybody now. So this is kind of what Alabama fans expect.
Never would have thought it.
Back to the norm. Yeah.
Never would have thought it.
No. All right, so we'll also talk about Auburn really fast. We kind of downed Freeze last week.
Because we did not expect him, if Auburn lost, we didn't expect him to be the head coach at this point.
We kept waiting Sunday for the move to be made.
Yeah, I kept sitting there like, all right, when am I getting the notification? When am I getting the notification? I get it about Billy Napier, but it's 5:30, 6 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
Wow, is this happening?
And I'm like, is he actually going to get another week? Or are they going to wait till Monday? Well, Monday came and went. Hasn't been fired, so I guess it's not going to be this week.
He's getting another week. So he gets this Arkansas against Petrino. That'll be interesting.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, because who knows? I mean, it'll be close probably, but from there, I don't know. At least they're playing close, I'll say that. But the play calling it was so bad in that Missouri overtimes. It was awful.
So you've seen every Auburn game this season, correct? Mm-hmm. You don't like the offense.
I missed a Baylor game, the best game of the year.
Oh, you were,
I was at a high school game.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. But that was the only game they've really done well on offense against a real opponent. So do you think it's players on offense or is it coaching?
It's coaching. He plays to their deficiencies. It's like he plays to the weakness of Arnold because he has him just drop him back and standing there. And anyway.
If he ruined a Heisman caliber quarterback in Peyton Thorne to be where Thorne was, well, he was at Michigan State. He was in the Heisman Trophy conversation for a while. Considering that Jackson Arnold was never really in that conversation to begin with, how far can Arnold go the rest of the season down?
He can't evaluate. Very bad at evaluating quarterbacks and coaching them as well. But we'll see. I think it'll be close this week. So I didn't want to mention that because we're going into Zach's picks. I think that's one of the games on there probably.
It is. It's one of four. Not a great slate, especially outside of the SEC. Not a great slate at all in college football. Of course, that's when all the fun happens, is when there's no good games. But we'll jump right in with a ranked SEC matchup. Number 16, Missouri, fresh off the close win against Auburn in double overtime, on the road at Vanderbilt, who all of a sudden finds themselves in the playoff conversation legitimately. They're 6-1 at this point in the season. They still have to play Missouri. They've still got Texas. They've still got Tennessee. But those three teams haven't looked great at this point in the season. So could Vanderbilt make the playoffs? Have we fallen that far in college football?
That's really, who would have ever thought it? But I think, I mean, once they beat LSU, I was like, wow, this team is actually, better than LSU.
They are. They look better.
Yeah, and they're probably better than Missouri's pretty good.
Missouri's good. They're
better than LSU.
They should have beat Alabama, Missouri, but too much talent for the Crimson Tide on the field. They just couldn't pull that through. And then they should have beat Auburn pretty badly. But Auburn, the defense fought hard and kept it close.
They did.
So who do you think wins this one?
I am picking Vanderbilt again. Home field advantage, which they didn't have for decades. But now there was a lot of LSU people at that game.
There were, and there'll be a lot of Missouri
Yes,
people at this one because Missouri fans, they travel very well.
It'll still almost be like a neutral site game. But at Vanderbilt, and they're actually that good, yeah, I think they're going to win again. It's crazy.
I do too, because Vanderbilt, the only time this season they've really played badly is against Alabama when they got in the red zone. And then for the first half of that Virginia Tech game early in the season.
Yes.
Other than that, Vanderbilt has looked elite. Their quarterback, Diego Pavia, has looked great. Missouri, they have not looked bad. Their only losses to Alabama as well, and it was a close loss.
So both Bama losses.
Both Bama losses, and I think I'm picking Vanderbilt because I picked against them last week, and they proved me wrong. So I'll pick them this week, and hopefully they will not prove me wrong this time. So we're both going Commodores.
Wow, they could be 7-1. Vanderbilt.
Crazy.
So Vanderbilt's kind of like where I thought Auburn would be. I don't know if I thought they'd be 7-1, but
I thought that they'd be at that point.
And Auburn is the old Vanderbilt from a few years ago when they couldn't win a game.
Well, the old Vanderbilt wouldn't have kept it close.
That's true. At least they're keeping it close.
At least Auburn's keeping it close.
Yes.
But we'll get to Auburn in just a second. First, number 8 Ole Miss on the road, number 14 Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Sooners are the favorite. They beat South Carolina pretty easily last week, but they just haven't looked great. Oklahoma has. And Ole Miss, they played very well against Georgia, but the defense couldn't. They couldn't stop Gunnar Stockton, who now looks like a real quarterback. So who do you think is going to win this one?
Well, that was such a weird game at Georgia. Like they had that locked up, and just boom, it was over. They just couldn't stop them. But Oklahoma, Mateer, he's getting, I guess, more used to it now. He's back. This is be his third game back?
Yes, it will be.
So,
his first game back was terrible.
Well, yes, it was.
And he wasn't bad last week with the broken hand.
I think, I had a lot of trouble on this one. I wanted to pick Ole Miss, but I picked Oklahoma just because it's on the road.
Hugh Freeze, not Hugh Freeze, Lane Kiffin, the current
about the same
Ole Miss head coach. No, they're not. Lane Kiffin, whenever his name is being floated as a candidate for another job, as it was with Auburn when Hugh Freeze was hired, Ole Miss tends to play poorly. Now Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's floated to be perhaps leaving Ole Miss to go to Florida, who fired Billy Napier. So that made me think Oklahoma might win. But I cannot unsee what John Mateer did against Texas. 3 interceptions? No thanks. I'm going Ole Miss to win this one close on the road.
Wow, that's a good pick.
Now Auburn, coached by your favorite Hugh Freeze. On the road at an Arkansas team that really played well against Texas A&M last week.
Yep, I was thinking about Hugh Freeze. I was like, is this what the Doug Barfield era felt like? No.
Barfield, oh man.
I mean, he's 9-10 at home, but this is on the road. And you remember I had a gut feeling last week.
Yes.
And it was wrong. My gut was wrong. But couldn't believe it.
It was close.
My gut didn't say overtime. It said win. So now my gut is saying pick Arkansas, and I'm going against my own gut. And I'm picking Auburn to win this game. I have no reason. I don't know why I would pick them. They can't score. They can't call plays. But Arkansas's defense is terrible. But their offense is pretty good. That doesn't line up well for Auburn, but I'm picking them. I guess it'd be a slight upset.
I think the line has flipped. It's right around that 1-point margin for both teams. It's gone back and forth. If Hugh Freeze had been fired and it was P.J. Durkin maybe as the interim head coach, I think Auburn would win this one easily because Arkansas, they're not that great.
They're not very good. No.
But Hugh Freeze is still the head man in Auburn. So I'm picking Arkansas to win by 6 because it seems like Auburn just loses by 6 points a lot this season. Lost
specialty
to Missouri by 6,
Texas
lost to A&M by 6. So I say they lose to Arkansas by 6. How about 30-24?
Oh, 24? They could score that many?
They could hit 20 this season because
Auburn has not scored 20 in an SEC game this year.
And Arkansas's defense is the perfect defense for Auburn to finally get 24 on.
If he can't score 20 against this team, he won't score 20.
He's got to be gone.
This is it.
If they lose this week, Hugh Freeze will get fired.
Yes.
If they win,
keep saying that every week.
And if they win, they have Kentucky the week after that, which Auburn could win. So you could be looking at Hugh Freeze for another few more weeks.
That'd be great. Terrible. We'll see.
We'll see. But I'm picking Arkansas.
It's a big game
You're
for them.
picking Auburn. Hopefully I'm right in that one. Now, Alabama ranked number 4 going to South Carolina. South Carolina's 3-4 on the season. They were supposed to be competing for a playoff spot. What happened?
I don't know. The same record as Auburn, which is crazy. And Oklahoma goes there last week, kind of has their way with them. They can't score. It's very similar. It's a shame they don't play Auburn, now that I think about it.
Game.
But Alabama, it could be kind of a trap-type game, but I'm going Alabama. They're just too good. This will be about the same as Oklahoma, maybe worse.
Oh, I don't know if I would go that far. If South Carolina was any kind of good, I think the Gamecocks would win. And they've got a chance because this is the kind of game Alabama would struggle in because they don't play well on the road. They've won their last 2 on the road, which is great, but those were both not impressive wins. Anytime you beat Georgia on the road, it's
I think
big.
you'll take it, right?
But it wasn't. Still played poorly at times. And then against Missouri, played poorly at times. In fact, Alabama has not put together a full game this season, with the exception of against Louisiana Monroe. So I think it'll be close. I think South Carolina will compete. Maybe a lot like this game last year in Tuscaloosa, where Alabama jumps out to an early lead. South Carolina fights back. Neither team looks great, and Alabama wins a close one in the end. So I'm going with the Crimson Tide to win this one, but close.
Yeah, this could be South Carolina's Super Bowl,
Probably.
If Steven Garcia came out there, I'll be really worried.
Oh, no. The blast from the past.
Go back 15, 16 years. Yes,
Yeah,
but
15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it has happened before, but this will be a humongous upset at this point.
Shane Beamer, he's been linked to that Virginia Tech job because his father was a legend there.
They want him back
and
so
they want
badly.
him back. So I wonder, does he have his mind on that? He said that he would. There was no place he'd rather be than Columbia, South Carolina. We'll see as the coaching carousel starts spinning. But those are the 4 games I have.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, it's going to be some games you never expect will be the classics this week. All right, so that wraps up our show. I want to thank Jake for producing and Bevill State for sponsoring the show. Also, next week is our last week of high school games, regular season. So most of our teams will be done. So get out and watch them. This weather is actually great.
Yes, it'll be a little chilly, but it's good football weather when it's cool.
Yeah, light jacket weather. We've gone from burning up in the early season to the end where it gets a little bit chilly. But that wraps up our show, and we'll see you next week.